Yo, Graphk and Wasted, man. We got a goodie tonight, y'all. Let's get it. Yo, salute to everybody here in the building. You guys already know what time it is, man. Welcome to the latest installment of the Graphk and Wasted show, or the Graphk, or the Wasted and Graphk show, however you want to slice it. You already know I got my big bro in the building. What's good, King?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. I'm excited, brother. I'm excited, man. This is the shot heard round Raider Nation right now. This article and, Hondo, breaking down the previous regime, and I can't wait to pick his brain about that.
No, definitely, man. Salute to Hondo. We've been working on this for a while, you guys. Salute to him for reaching out yesterday and saying, let's make it happen now. Hondo's a real one. He will be here shortly. He just sent me a message. He was trying to find the link in his email, so he will be here shortly, you guys. Salute to everybody here, man. Make sure you guys wipe them feet, man. Meaning hit them thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button if you guys are not subscribed yet. I know I'm seeing a lot of new names in the chat. Also, man, let them know where they can follow you at too, Wasted. Where are you at right now?
At Wasted Talent Raiders on YouTube, and at Raider Nation, Raider_Nation_Unlimited on Instagram.
There you go. Salute to everybody here in the building, man. How is the chat feeling? I see Sniper Jones, the numbers, Richard, Ghost, Adam, DeMarcus. I see all you guys. Ron, man, salute to all you guys, man. Get some questions in today also. Make sure you go put them questions in there. We're going to make sure that we spend some time, a good amount of the show, getting your questions in for our guy Hondo Carpenter. We're going to ask him some tough ones too. I see what's going on. I'm on Twitter right now. I see it's funny, man. Wasted, content wars, right? Like, I guess YouTube guys aren't the only ones.
Oh man, it is. My God, man. I mean, it is like No Country for Old Men. You got writers screaming from the Raptors for Hondo's head. And you know what? It's unbelievable, bro.
Hey, and much respect to Hondo. He's just chilling, kicking back, coming off of a classic article. He just vibing, man. Letting everybody else go out there and do what they do. We're absolutely going to ask him, about that and everything else. But make sure you guys get your questions in. How does Hondo feel about Andre James? We can ask him about that too, Rich. Don't make me go Elon Musk on anyone. Yo, salute to the 300 plus people already here, man. What's the realistic option for Coach AP? What do you mean in terms, Darnell, what do you mean? What realistic option do you mean? Is it realistic that he can be the guy moving forward? Elaborate a little bit, King. Salute to Blackout, man. Shout out to our guy Graphk, enjoying his last few shows in his 30s. Nothing but greatness ahead. Salute to you, man. I will see you, Cody, out there in Vegas for my 40th, man. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Let me see. Mitch should be in here too. I'm actually meeting up with Mitch tomorrow, Eddie. We're actually going to a Raider event out here in the Dallas area, man. So stay tuned. We'll probably put something together real quick, a little live together where we were. Let me make sure. Let me holler at bro real quick.
Shout out to Mitch too, man. Tomorrow Mitch is getting a tramp stamp, everybody. No, stop playing around. Shout out to my guy Mitch, man.
Hold on. Hondo says I'm here and I don't see him backstage. It's requesting access to my.
So guys, look, let me ask you guys a question. I mean, with everything that's been going on, is there anything from the past regime as far as questions go that you would like to ask Hondo when he comes in, man? like I want y'all to flood the chat with as many questions as possible, man. Because once we get rocking, you know what I mean? I will be minding the chat. And if it's a good question, I'll pull it out. For real, man. Shout out to my guy Hug D's, AP12, Ghostmaster, Duck Pool, Antoine Wade. Everybody's in the place to be, man. This is a most splendiferous occasion. It always is, man. My guy DeMarcus Webb in the place with the slander. Sean Holmgren. Everybody in the place to be, man. Hey, Graphk, you know, they said that it looks like Hondo has a tan.
Yo, that's funny as shit. Salute to Space Beast also, man. Graphk, that last show with Stu was bomb. I salute you, man. I appreciate you. Okay, we're writing back and forth to each other. All right, continue with YouTube. It won't have any access.
Yes, man, but the content is flowing today, man. Yo, my guy Dawson shows, he said, I want to know whose idea was it to draft Zamir White. Woohoo! Wow.
I think that was another Josh McDaniels.
So Josh McDaniels special, warming it up.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yo, oh my God. Shout out to the Blackout Network. Yo, Cody.
Here we go.
Yo, shout out to Cody for his last few pounds in the 200s.
Let me see. Okay.
Living Cabbage Patch Dog in the place to be, man. Shout out to the Blackout Network. Should call it the Fat Out Network.
Hondo's about to get access here shortly. So salute to everybody for your patience. We appreciate you guys. As always, man, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, wipe them feet, hit them thumbs up. It helps the channel tremendously. And we have one of our favorite guys in Raider Nation backstage right now, a phenomenal writer. You guys know him as Hondo. I'll bring our guy in real quick, man. Salute to our brother Hondo Carpenter. How you doing, man?
Hey, buddy. Good to be on with you tonight. Thanks for having me.
It's always a blessing. I know, firstly, salute to you coming off of a phenomenal article that you wrote. It has Twitter and everywhere going insane right now. Phenomenal article. Secondly, I want to say, I know we're trying to work on doing this, getting together for a while. Just want to say, man, perfect timing, worked itself out. Thank you for pulling up on us on the podcast. And thirdly, I have to say, man, one thing I love about Hondo, everyone loves the writer Hondo. One thing that I follow you for on Twitter is you're like me. You always share pictures of your wife, your kid. I love the family, man, Hondo. I love that you share about, your beliefs. I just love what you do, man. You seem like such a good spirited guy, man. So Hondo, don't change for anybody, man.
I appreciate that. That means the world to me. Other than my faith, my family is just the most important thing in the world. And I met my wife on September 9th of 1981. It was a Wednesday. I was 10, she was 8 when home told my dad met my wife. Wow. When we eventually got together, it was a great day in my life. She is a tremendous gift from the Lord. And I really believe that, and again, I'm not here to preach, I'm here to talk Raiders. But but what I love about Proverbs 31 is it says a godly woman, her husband will praise her. And I've got 250,000 people through whatever that follow me and millions that read what we do, and they don't know her, but she saves lives every day as a tremendous nurse. And I love to talk about her because she's a great gift.
I love it, man. Salute to you. And that is a beautiful story. And I want to introduce you to my co-host. This is my brother. His name is Wasted Talent. Hondo, Wasted.
Hey, buddy. Good to meet you.
It's funny because he has like a similar story. Grew up child.
Long time, man. Long time. Same thing, man. Same deal.
It's funny, man. So let's talk a little bit about Raiders, man. Let's talk about the Raiders in general. I mean, we're going to break down this article. I think everyone in the nation has already read it. I have to ask you, man, because after reading this, it's like I wish Ziegler would have had a little more time, right? Like I really do, because there was an insert on the article that stated pretty much, like the Patriot way wasn't kind of, and I don't want to use the exact, it's not the exact words, but the Patriot way, like he wasn't close with Bill Belichick. He wasn't really close with him. And the Patriot way didn't really stand out to him. He wanted to do things a little differently. And the reason why me and Wasted before, we said, you know, it's kind of a package deal. If you move on from Josh, you have to move on from Zeke. But now seeing the article, it kind of makes me feel a little indifferent. It's like, damn, man, like I wish you would have had an opportunity to stick around a little bit more and we could see where this went. I mean, the word clueless stood out with Josh McDaniels, right? And I don't want to beat up on Josh. He's gone, and good luck to him and everything that he has going on. But I want to ask you, how did this come together? And with Zeke, do you think that we gave up on him too quick?
No, I don't. But I want to go back because if I understand your question correctly, it was two-part. Did we give up too quickly, and how did the article come about? Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first of all, I was talking to one of my closest friends in the world, just a great brother from Delaware earlier today. And he and I were talking about the article, and he goes, anybody that reads you hinted at all of these points since they got here.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, so none of this was really new. I laugh at the people. Did Ziegler write the article? Well, they clearly don't know who I write for.
Yeah.
Because that's ridiculous. But these are things that we knew had happened. Now, one of the things that I don't like about media in America today, and not just sports, politics, or anything else, my job is not to create news. Now, there is
you've always been really big on that. You always say that. That's always been something.
My job's to report news.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me explain what I mean by that. You guys are fans, and God bless you. I mean, someone said to me, I don't even know how many interviews I've done today. It started at 3 this morning. I have done so many interviews, and people say to me, you know, why are you talking to, I've had other medias, why are you doing fan podcasts? I'll tell you exactly why. Because I know who signs my paycheck, but I know who my boss is. And it's the fans. It's the people who click and read, and media people need to quit talking down to fans and treating them like they're idiots. And not all media people do, but a lot of them do. Yeah. And they need to quit telling people, you guys aren't stupid. You're not stupid. Yeah. You see things. My job is to tell you what you don't know from the inside.
Yes.
And let you come up with an opinion of your own. Mm-hmm. Whether I disagree or not is irrelevant.
Yeah.
But my job is to bring you. And so I'll give you a real quick one. I reported the other day that people around the Raiders and around the National Football League keep talking about how much that they believe Mark Davis would like to bring John Gruden back. Doesn't mean he's his first choice. Doesn't mean he's rooting against AP.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I had people attacking me. You're just doing rumors. No, I'm not. I'm telling you what other people think.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yep.
Now a rumor would be to go make something up, and that's not what I'm doing. But so back to how the story came about. One of the things that I always strive to do is any coach, I give them 20 games. That's essentially it's almost a season and a quarter.
Yeah.
Because they need to get their players, their systems, their coaches, whatever. I give them that, whoever the next coach is. So you may remember, Graphk, the first 20 games of Josh McDaniels, Hondo's a shill.
Mm-hmm.
Then after 20 games, Hondo's lighting them up.
Yeah.
Hondo's going after.
We've talked about it. We've talked about it.
It's the exact same thing with us.
Yep.
It's the exact same thing with us.
Yep.
And so after I didn't change.
Mm-hmm.
So let me give you an example. And Graphk, I know that you're familiar with my work. Maybe all your audience isn't. So you can tell them if I'm BSing or spitting truth.
I got you.
I kept all the way leading up to the last draft. There's only one quarterback they would trade up for.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one quarterback. Now, you may remember I didn't name the quarterback.
Yes, you didn't. And they were killing you for that, too, because they were like, well, just say it. And which is like, but I knew.
Here's the reason I didn't. Because I knew that Dave Ziegler was willing to move to 1 to get CJ.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a deal at 2 and 1. Okay. Now you can go back and read Ian Rappaport and others. That was out there.
Yep.
Okay. And I also knew that one was too high and that Josh only wanted Bryce.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm asked by people in the organization, hey, you've got this. Because I asked, would you like to comment?
Mm-hmm.
And they said to me, would you please not report that there's a division? And I said, okay, tell me why. Because you got to remember, at first, it wasn't a sure thing CJ was going to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they said, because you'll hurt us as a franchise if people know what we're thinking. Maybe CJ will drop. Maybe he gets to 3 and okay, we're able to make a decision, whatever.
Yeah.
I am always going to report truth, but if somebody comes to me and say, like, I'll give you a classic example. When you know a player is really hurt but going to play, I'll report they're on the injured list.
Yes.
I will not report how bad, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't work for the Raiders, but I'm also not going to do anything to hurt them.
Yeah.
That's proprietary information.
That can create a disadvantage. It can do so much. Yeah.
And here's the deal. Why would I do that? That's not integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And so on this article, that's why I didn't report who, number one.
Mm-hmm.
But as the information continued to culminate, okay, I knew the distress over the Alec Ingold decision.
Mm-hmm.
I knew last year, and you may remember, last year I started reporting there were some staff members that were not liked. And I said, it's not the majority. It's not even close to all.
I remember.
There's a few.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew Dave had talked to Josh. Now, I didn't learn that from Dave.
Okay, so
I learned it from somebody else.
Okay, got you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And just like I didn't put in the article about Derek Carr and the number 4, I learned about that from somebody else in the organization.
Yeah.
But anyways, the point is I knew it was important to put these 10 down. And here's why. I said in the article, I know there's going to be some people, I don't care, I don't want to read it, they're not here anymore. But those who don't study the past, history, are doomed to repeat it. I'm going to say something to you that I am sincerely believe. Like Mark Davis.
Hondo, your audio is going.
He's an honorable man.
There you go. Your audio is good now. It was a little choppy for a second, but you're good.
Okay. I like Mark Davis. I think he's a good man.
There you go.
And the last 2 coaches picked their general manager.
Mm-hmm.
It failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is a legacy-defining hire for him. And I think it's important for the nation to understand, why do I say I think he needs to pick the GM? Because he's a 10 times, 100 times better businessman than his father. And before his father began to age and do what all of us will do when we age, his father was a genius football man.
Yes,
and
definitely.
He knows he's not. He knows he's not. And so go pick the GM and let the GM make the decisions. And so I just think that was a vital to get this out there. I had someone say to me, did Ziegler pay you? No, of course not. And I don't care. I just blow that stuff off.
Yeah.
But the point is, I felt like the nation deserved to know that.
Yeah.
I think you guys need your media to bring you high quality information from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And we got it from multiple people. Now, some of them, Josh and Dave maybe spoke to them. Some of them maybe worked with Josh and Dave. I don't tell who my sources are. But the point of the matter was, I think it was important for you guys to know. And it was like Ian Rappaport from NFL Network retweeted it. Great stuff in here.
Yeah.
He knew a bunch of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the point of the matter is, it was something that I felt the nation deserved. And I want to go back. May I take a moment and share something?
Brother, this is yours.
Your show, man.
Okay. Well, I have so much respect for the fans. You guys are my bosses. And I have so much respect. And in fact, Graphk won't tell you this, but the reason I'm on this show tonight is because I respect him.
Appreciate
personally. And so I said, and Graphk knows this, and I apologize that I didn't know you, brother, before we got started. Wasted
It's
time.
all good. You will. It's okay.
But I wrote before the Patriots game that even if the Raiders go on and win a Super Bowl this year, which none of us expect, the biggest game of the year is the Patriot game. Now, I'm going to tell you why. People mock me for it, and I don't care. See, when you're a journalist, my job is not to get you people to like me and send me Christmas cards.
At all.
My job is give you the information. And at the end of the day, hey, I don't like Hondo. I do like Hondo. But that you say I respect him because he brings me good information. And our website's completely free.
Yeah.
Just remember that.
Definitely.
So I want to say this. I knew that if they didn't win the Patriot game, they were probably going to be fired. And they knew that. And so, because what would have happened is in the Patriots' worst season, they would have had an equal record with Belichick, and the Patriots were terrible.
Makes all the sense in the world.
Okay. After the game, they were assured, and it was said, you're going to come back for next year. So I do a weekly question and answer article. And in the article, I'm asked, what are the chances that Josh McDaniels gets fired this year? And I said in the article, I never say never in the NFL. So I'm going to say 5% that he gets fired.
Yeah. Hondo, in which we all agree with you. To be honest, we did because we assumed they were going to keep him another year. So, but go ahead.
But I didn't assume. Now I want to share this with you because I want to put it in perspective. And I'm not defending myself.
Okay.
But you guys are my bosses. And I want Raider Nation and the listeners of the Graphk Raider podcast to understand what goes into what I do. Okay. So I told Graphk Raider, I'm coming on your show at 7:00 tonight. He advertised I'm coming on. If I wouldn't have come on, it didn't mean Graphk lied.
Yeah.
Now, my wife's been sick. So what if I was rushing her back to the hospital? Okay. I wouldn't mean I lied.
Yeah.
And so when he got fired, I literally found out because players texted me. Players.
Yeah.
And so when it happened, people take their shots, which is fine. I'm a big boy. Guess what? I'm not hiding in my mom's basement. You know my real name. I'm one of the few media that follows fans.
Yeah.
I am one on Twitter and interacts with them. I am one of the few fans that actually lets fans send me friend requests on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to tell my bosses I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
But when you cross the line, I just mute you. But so you can call me a liar. But the point of the matter is Mark Davis didn't lie to them.
Yeah.
Mark Davis sincerely believed it. But when he saw this isn't Raider football, nobody's having fun.
Yeah.
And it hit him. He made the decision to fire them. Okay. Yeah. All I could do was give you the information that I had. And that's all I want the nation to know. And so how did the article come together? It came together because I hinted at some of it. I reported at some of it. And when they left, okay, let's put the whole thing together and let everybody know what happened. And this was only the 10 biggest disagreements.
Okay.
Now, your question to me that I thought was very germane is, should they have given up on Ziegler? Yes.
Okay.
And that may surprise you, but I want to tell you why. I believe had Dave Ziegler walked into Mark Davis's office and said, listen, you either have to make it clear I'm the boss and then I'm going to fire Josh, or I'm quitting because I don't want my name associated with this failure.
Yes.
He didn't do that. Now, I also believe Dave deserves another opportunity, and I believe he will get it. He's a rising star in the NFL, or was, but I think a lot of people respect him. But because he didn't do that, I think if he'd have walked into Mark Davis and put him on blast respectfully, said, listen, here's all the areas we disagree. I need you to give me the authority. I want to fire Josh. I want to make a change, or I need to quit, Mark, because I need a future in this and I can't have my name associated with it. I believe he'd still be here.
Yeah.
Now, Hondo, I want to ask you something really quickly. Going into this, we as fans did not know that David Ziegler did not have final cut over the roster. Now, it was rumored that Josh McDaniels brought him in, but it was always told to us that David Ziegler is the GM and, Josh McDaniels is the coach. And that's how things were going to go, because we were kind of shell-shocked over the last regime with John Gruden having final cut over Mike Mayock.
Yeah.
So when it came out in the wash that wasn't the case, and they were having these kind of issues, and David Ziegler didn't stand up and stand pat in his beliefs, to me, I think right then and there, they should have probably separated from that point. I'm wondering why David Ziegler, why it took him so long to stand his ground, because he never did. And now this is probably going to affect his career going through it's going to take a lot for him to get hired again as a GM. I think this is almost a death blow to his career based off of what happened.
Hey, I'm going to address that, and I want you to know I think it's a very fair question. Okay. Do you remember when Dave Ziegler was named that he told the story of Mark Davis saying, could you get me Josh McDaniels? He said, yeah, if I'm the GM.
Yeah.
Anybody reading between the lines saw that. Okay. And so Mark wanted Josh. Josh had said, hey, you know what? I learned in Denver, we're going to split this. I'm going to really rely on you for personnel decisions, whatever. But Josh hired him.
Yeah.
Josh, okay, technically Mark Davis did, but Josh was the boss.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of the situation. So let me say this to you, and I don't think you're a wasted talent. But I'm going to say this to you. In your regular job, do you have a boss?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to leave it right there. And I would have left sooner. I probably would have left after the Jimmy Garoppolo signing. It, I would have left.
I respect that.
I respect that too. I would have too.
And I'm gonna say this to you, but so I don't blame Mark for firing him at all. At all, I would have. I believe if Dave would have done it, Dave would still be employed there.
Yeah.
And but I hope that answers your question.
It definitely
as
does.
succinctly as I can.
I want to ask really quickly. I'm sorry, Graphk, but
go ahead, bro.
There was a lot of reactions to your article from other beat writers, and
that's where I'm going to go right now. Yeah.
I don't want to.
I just want to interrupt you. If you're going to ask me to comment on other beat writers, I don't do that.
No.
That's not what I'm going to ask.
Not
what
at all.
I'm going to ask is, what is your reaction to? I really want to know, why do you think that it kind of caused, your article caused such a firestorm? Because to me, if you read between the lines and you're a fan, all of the things that were detailed in that article were things that us as fans and Raider Nation can see were happening in real time. It's not conjecture. It's just pretty much backing up what we all thought. We all heard that, CJ Stroud was Zeke's guy, you know what I mean? And we all heard that Bryce Young was Josh McDaniels' guy. All of the things that you detailed in that article were things that all of us had heard from other beat writers, some of the people who were kind of criticizing the article. So I wonder why this has struck such a chord with everyone.
And Hondo did this with Derek too. When he left, he did a deep dive article and broke down that whole situation as well. And there was still some, look, any job you have, you're always going to have people say different things. And I'm not saying it is disrespect. I just, when Ian Rappaport put it out there, because like you said, Hondo, Ian Rappaport, that's Ian. He knows a lot that's going on around the league. when he retweeted, I was like, man, I already trusted the article anyway. But when you see Ian put it out, it's like, wow. But then you see other guys come out and say, no. I'm not going to get into detail. I'm not going to name names because that doesn't.
Well, let me just say that this is the only thing I want to say. I work with some wonderful colleagues in the media that I have nothing but great things to say about. Good men, good family men. We don't have any women beat writers, so I'm not excluding women. We have some women who work who aren't beat writers, but you asked me about beat writers.
Yeah.
I have nothing negative to say about any one of them. I work for a great company.
Yeah.
Our sources are vetted, known. I think the national media saying, yeah, it's true, says everything.
Yeah.
And I wish them nothing but the best. I hope they do well. I've not seen it. I've not looked. I come from a place of I just believe the best in everybody.
I love it.
So
I love it.
And that all I know is this: we reported it. It got massive traction. Multiple national media came up and said, "Yup, it's accurate," which I don't need them to do that. So at the end of the day, we're very content and happy with our reporting.
Yeah. And
I wish everybody well. I hope everybody. I want Raider Nation to get the best coverage, and wherever that comes from, I hope it's from me. Yeah. But I wish them nothing but the best.
Let me ask you this real quick, and I see a few people in the chat ask this question too. It was actually one that I already have ready to fire up. So we know the whole Z backstory now, kind of with the article. In your eyes, who went out and got Tyree in the first round, Hondo? Who was that?
First of all, I respect you asking this question, and I would like to tell your friend, your listeners, and your audience. You can ask Graphk this. I said right after the draft in my post-draft podcast, and I actually said it several weeks leading up to the draft. There is a term in the NFL called dudes. And what a dude is a guy that they believe absolutely can't miss. When this guy's career is over, he's going to be legendary.
Yeah.
And I wrote this for weeks leading up to the draft. There were two dudes, and it was Will Anderson and Tyree Wilson. Okay. Now, the Raiders were Josh McDaniel was hoping Bryce would fall.
Yeah.
And Dave was hoping
CJ would be
would have fallen, although I don't believe they would have picked him.
That's crazy.
And they would have picked Will Anderson immediately, but there were a lot of things that go into a draft.
Yeah.
But you can go back and look. This is not revisionist, and Graphk will tell you that I said this. They knew he was a year away.
Yeah.
They knew he had an injury, but they knew his coaching in college. He'd been able to bull rush everybody because he's bigger, faster, stronger.
Yep.
And they knew he had to get healthy, learn technique. Now, most defensive linemen, and there are exceptions, really bloom in year two. But they thought, man, we've got Chandler.
Yeah.
We got Max. We got Malcolm. This is a guy that we're going to be able to work in. He's going to get 100%. And then, oh, by the way, when we get into 24, he'll be ready to step up. Then we'll be able to get, whatever. So revisionist history, if I wanted to be that guy, but that's not who I am.
Okay.
There were a ton of NFL people that wanted Tyree Wilson. Okay, a ton. And if you go back and read NFL Network and all the Rappaport and all the respected ones, Tyree was right up there, the most respected people.
Yeah.
Because he was loved around the league. I'm going to say a couple things to you. Raider Nation has almost been, in my opinion, just abused. You've been sold just win, baby, and the two coaches that take you to the playoffs have been fired.
Yeah.
And it at times it's almost toxic.
Yeah.
Not because the people are bad. I just think the people are pissed. They're mad. I wrote an article before Josh McDaniels got fired and said, I don't think anyone just hates Josh, but it's just win, baby.
Yeah.
You want to win the crowd? Win.
Yeah.
I don't think Raider Nation cares if the next coach is a male or female.
Nope.
I don't think they care what color they are.
Nope.
What political persuasion they are, what sexual orientation they are.
Not at all.
Raider Nation will rally around whoever just wins, baby.
Yep.
And so people look at, matter of fact, I in a question and answer article this summer, and your readers can go back and find it, I actually tweeted a link to a study on NFL players who had the surgery that Tyree had.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the one that said people need to just relax. This is going to be a learning curve. Well, then we go through what they went through with Chandler. He gets forced into action. I want people to hear me. I don't blame you for being frustrated with the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
But don't make your frustration with Tyree. Yeah. And you know what? Was he slow getting off the ball at first? Yeah. Because the guy's still recovering from an injury.
Yeah, he cleaned that up a lot, though. He's cleaned that up a lot lately. I mean, the stats are still not piling up
because he's getting better. Because he's getting healthier. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is his handwork horrible? Yep. Okay. But he's never had to use his hands. So here's what you've got. You've got a guy, and you guys are going to laugh about this. You all know Braylon Edwards.
Yeah.
The great college. He's a dear friend of mine. He is not just a friend. He's a brother.
Love Braylon.
Yeah. Matter of fact, he's going to be on my podcast next week.
I love it, man.
I'm so close to him. I call his mom, Mama.
Hey, real quick, before you do that, real quick, Hondo, let everybody know real fast. Shameless plug. Where can we got about 800 people in the building. Let them know where to follow you at on YouTube.
Follow me on Twitter at Hondo Carpenter and on Instagrams. It's called something else.
Instagram.
What is it?
It's my IG. It's my Instagram.
Oh, it's IG. Okay. Follow me on IG at Hondo SR. It's Hondo Senior. Mm-hmm. And find my YouTube at Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast with Hondo Carpenter. You can that's where the video of it is. Then you can also go over and find me on Spotify and Apple, where it's just the audio. And I also do a special podcast every day. I do two, just for the audio crowd. It's 5 or 10 minutes. It's exclusive riding with Hondo. I usually shoot it in the truck when I'm driving or with my son Dexter. But we do that. So I appreciate that.
I'm putting in the chat right now. So everybody, if you guys can leave, go hit the subscribe button, come right back. I'm putting a link in the chat right now. But go ahead. I want to hear the Braylon Edwards story.
Okay, so I'm talking to Braylon, and he's great friends with AP. He's a Michigan man. His nephew plays for Jim Harbaugh, knows them both. Him and I were just talking. And we were talking about players and development. And sometimes we live in an instant gratification culture.
Definitely.
Okay. Your way, right away.
Yep.
I have known my wife since September 9th of 1981. Hasn't been my wife the whole time, but I've known her since then. Her and I have a friendship, a trust, a loyalty that you don't get after a third date.
Yep.
Takes time. But in our instant gratification thing, we don't know if Tyree Wilson's going to be a dude.
Yeah.
But here is what I do know. The people who've made draft picks and picked dudes who have a track record thought he was.
Okay.
Thought he needed a year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to step back, give him that year, because I'm going to say this to you. And I really want to challenge Raider Nation for a moment. And I respect you. You're my bosses. So if you take this as disrespect, you're just looking for something to be pissed about, and I can't do anything about that.
You know what's disrespect, Hondo? 40 years of not winning. So we're good. We're good. Go ahead.
I know NFL teams who have used Twitter comments, message boards, YouTube comments about players and showed it to free agents. Do you really want to go there?
Wow.
Okay. I know that for a fact. Now, when I first started on this beat, nobody knew me. So when I talked about knowing players and coaches, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, now I have them on my podcast.
Yeah.
Now I sometimes use them where I actually tell you who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember the last coaching change, I reported that Jim Harbaugh, everywhere he has gone, wears people out. You don't know anything. You're just a Spartan. You hate Jim Harbaugh. Well, now I can tell you that one of the people I talked to was Braylon Edwards.
There you go.
That's beautiful.
Who, oh, by the way, you're going to see him on my podcast probably Tuesday, and you'll find out how close we are.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing that to defend me. I'm doing it to explain. I don't want to see Raider Nation make their relationship with Tyree something that, what if he becomes a dude and says, yeah, I want out?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I understand that. The thing about the Tyree Wilson move, right? Now I'm going to go on record.
Can I just real quick finish my thought?
Sure.
If let's assume the worst, that he's an utter failure. Okay. Then you can be mad at Ziegler and McDaniels and the Raiders that they picked him there.
Yeah.
Okay. Cleve Farrell.
And that was
like a lot.
Go to. Yeah.
Okay. Everybody talked about how trashy Cleve was. Anybody watching what he's doing?
Yep.
For the 49ers now?
Yep. Well,
looking good.
And I believe, and if you go back and look at YouTube, I put this video up after the season, or it may have been just on my website, not YouTube. I don't remember now, but it's up. I say I believe. I am well aware that the Raiders were interested in keeping him, moving him to D tackle where he is performing like a rock star right now.
Yeah.
I also believe that there was a part of Clee that said, these people hate me and I'll just move on. I don't want to see that. And I'm going to say something to you guys. Wayne Mabry is the violator.
My uncle, man.
He's not just
an uncle around here. Yeah.
Yeah. He is a dear friend of mine.
Yeah.
A very, very good friend. And I just love the man. And I want to share something with you about Wayne. He's going to be on my podcast Wednesday.
Oh, he's been on the show over here 10, 15 times. That is our family right there. Yeah. We love Wayne. Love Wayne to death.
So I'm going to tell you something about Wayne. You know what most fans don't know about Wayne? Do you know other owners from other teams will come up, talk to him, how you doing, violator? Other players will come up and shake his hand.
Yeah.
He's loud. He's screaming. He's talking trash. But he's not talking about people's family. He's not telling them you suck, your wife's ugly, whatever.
Yeah.
And they respect him. I think he is a great man. But what I would say to Raider Nation is this, is your frustration is warranted towards the franchise.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't push it towards a player. Now, when you see a guy like Marcus Peters going half butt,
oh my God,
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you one thing about Tyree Wilson that you probably don't know because you're not there and it doesn't make you bad. That's a guy working his tail off. That's a guy that Max Crosby is hard on.
Got his arm around
and he loves it. And he loves it. This is a guy who wants to be great. And I'm going to tell you, I'm fond of Tyree. He is a wonderful kid. And he's a good kid.
Yeah.
And I know he's trying. And I know he's putting the effort in. And so I would just say to you, give it a time. You very well may be able to say, okay, it was a bust. But remember, through this many games of his rookie year, there were a lot of people calling Peyton Manning
a bust.
Oh, yeah, I remember it vividly.
And there were people that said he was a dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want you to know something. One of the people who back then told me he was a dude told me Tyree was. So It isn't a Hondo opinion.
Yeah.
It's an NFL opinion. And so I appreciate you asking about it.
Yeah.
I think you need. It's not fair to talk about Tyree and not talk about the Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
To not talk about what the plan was. And I know I've talked about it extensively, but still, I want to be fair to Tyree. I don't mind you asking about it. I want to put it into context.
Yeah,
I like that you brought up that existing issue with Chandler, like that they knew about it, because there was previous instances in New England, the whole jailhouse situation in the parking lot or whatever. There was an existing situation with Chandler Jones already, and they knew.
So let me say this to you,
okay,
respectfully. I get a phone call before free agents signing period comes by a very well-known person who played with Chandler in Arizona.
Okay.
And I get told, dude, I'm hearing Raiders are going for him. Do they not know there are issues? I'm not going to get into what the issues are. He's not a Raider. It's over.
Yeah.
Hondo, he had a lot of sacks his last year. Most came in one game.
The Tennessee game.
Over a 30-year-old defensive lineman. You don't sign those guys to these kind of deals. But Hondo, I know how much you like these guys. You should probably warn them.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to tell you who, it doesn't matter. But I went to them and said,
thank you.
Do y'all, I'm hearing you're talking to Chandler. Do your diligence. Do you know? And I shared some things I won't share here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's good. We got it. Okay. They both own that.
Yeah.
That's Dave and John.
That was going to be a question I was going to ask you. Who signed off?
They both own it.
Thank you.
They both own it. They both went that way. They both wanted it. That's them.
Okay.
Hondo, could I ask you a question? Did they ever broach bringing back Khalil Mack? Because Khalil Mack was available around the exact same time. Did they ever think about pairing him and bringing him in instead of Chandler Jones?
Is there any rumblings that you may have heard about potential reunited with Khalil?
I will say this, and I'm not going to get into any names.
Mm-hmm.
There were several people in the building that wanted to see Khalil back, but there were decision makers that didn't.
Wow. Okay. We'll leave that where it is. I want to ask you this because you were there the entire time, and this is a touchy subject in the nation. We all know the divide happened and all that other stuff, but I want to talk to you about it. You did a deep dive once Derek left and went to New Orleans, right? I just want kind of an assessment of how do you feel how that situation played out with Derek leaving Vegas? Do you think it was just time to? Do you think that we kind of we did him wrong in a sense? Like how do you feel about that whole situation and how it played out? Bringing Devontae over to Vegas, promising to bring the friends together, and a year later he's gone. Like how do you feel about that particular situation?
Okay, I'm going to answer that, but I want to be very respectful of you because it's your show. This may be a long answer. Are you okay with that?
All good, brother. Hey, look, we are here to hear you talk. That's it. We talk enough.
It's your show. I want to be respectful of you. So let me go back and say a couple things. I was the first to report Josh McDaniels was a candidate. And I'm told, just like with this article, some people disagreed. And I was told that there were some people who cover the team that said I was untruthful. It wasn't accurate.
Yeah.
Just like a year before he came, I was reporting Devontae wanted to be a Raider, and I thought he was going to be a Raider.
Mm-hmm.
A year.
Mm-hmm.
And at the combine, before he signed, I'm told, I don't know this, there were beat writers saying, not going to happen, never going to happen. I don't know. I believe the best in people. Just telling you what I was told.
Seen him.
Just like
seen him. So I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a pretty good track record there. So, I guess disagreeing with me probably hasn't turned out to be the best for everybody. So I'll just leave it there.
I love it, Hondo.
So I reported that Josh, one of the biggest things that he wanted was Derek Carr to be his quarterback. They wanted to trade for Derek in New England.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I reported all that. Then I reported right after Josh was hired, he called Derek before he took the job to make sure, do you want to play for me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so follow along here. This is going to take a while, but I need to sew up all the pieces.
Take your time. Take your time.
And Josh has talked about that now publicly, so that's on the record. He's admitted that my reporting was 100% accurate there.
Mm-hmm.
So they come in, and they liked his skill set. There were some things that Josh wanted to do that they didn't have the personnel or the ability to do. And so Derek wanted, because he's competitive, let me make some audibles, let me do some things, let me move into some things that can help us. Now, do what I call.
Yeah.
So as the marriage goes bad and it's not going on. Now, anybody can report anything after people leave, but don't sit there and tell me how great they are, and then when they leave, tell me they're trash. At least with my reporting, I was giving you all this the whole time. I was asking those tough questions. I was questioning things.
Yeah.
And when they went to the Pittsburgh game, they thought, okay, we're going to win this. We're going to stay playoff in the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And that game was a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then, and please hear my verbiage. On the way home, the franchise made the decision, we're going to move on, and we're going to get we're just going to move on.
Yeah.
I get tipped off by someone in the decision-making process, we're benching Derek.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I said, all right, I'll report it. And you may remember the press conference after the Pittsburgh game. I said to Josh, Derek has a $40 million guaranteed next year if he's injured.
I remember this.
Are you going to bench him?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going to stick with Derek? I don't ask that question because I have no clue.
Yeah.
I asked that question because I'd been tipped that they're going to bench him.
Yeah.
And you may remember his answer.
Yeah. Political.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm going to listen. I don't mind telling you where I think those guys are wrong, but I'm not a fan. And in my job, if I think that you're saying something that isn't accurate, I'm gonna defend. I would for anybody, just like I would criticize. I don't believe it was political.
Okay.
There were some things behind the scenes that I think for him to come out and have admitted that would have been disrespectful to Derek at that moment.
Okay. Makes sense.
I want to say something to you. Josh McDaniels to this day does not hate Derek Carr, neither does Dave Ziegler. And Derek Carr doesn't hate them.
Mm-hmm.
There was no animus. This was not a relationship. I hate you, you hate me. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
Now, so they decide to move on. In the process, you may remember I reported that thought Tom Brady was going to be the next quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very similar to how I reported a 5% chance they get fired. Tom Brady was coming to be the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
100% know that.
Yeah.
He didn't lie to the Raiders, and there was no tampering. But some things happened in Tom's life that precluded him from doing it. And let me just say, I think he made the right decision. Not because I hate the Raiders, just I know what the circumstances happened to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
He made the right decision. It was an honorable decision.
Yeah.
And they then are like, okay, do we circle back to Derek and see if we can go back to Derek? Because you may remember, and Graphk will tell you this, and you can go back and see it. I wrote, you don't trade Derek for Jimmy Garoppolo.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if they would have convinced Derek, and they did not, about the possibility of coming back, I don't believe they would have been able to convince Mark Davis to bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
But the point of the matter was, Ziegler's words were, hey, don't close this door, Derek. Okay.
Wow.
So I reported factual.
Yeah.
And by the way, for people that wanted to attack my reporting, or I had people say, well, look at this deep dive article on Derek as a hatchet job. Okay. Well, what about his family going to Twitter when he left and thanking me for being the honest reporter in Vegas? So they clearly read the article.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can't please everybody, Hondo. You know that. You can't please everybody. You know how that goes.
And I don't try to.
Yeah.
But my point is that they decide to move on from Derek. Now, I want to make a couple of statements here. No one needs to think Derek Carr was a victim.
Agreed.
He made generational wealth.
Yes.
And not one check from Mark Davis bounced.
At all.
Please let me finish.
Go ahead.
Number two, if I was moving on from Derek, I would have said to him, you're not practicing, you're not lifting, you're not weighing. Because you may remember, I reported he was injured that whole year.
Yeah, I remember.
Almost that whole year.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get healthy. Because when I cut you, I don't want to say your 40 million's guaranteed.
Yeah.
So I don't blame them for what they did. Could they have maybe done some things different and said, hey, but they just knew, let's move on. And in fairness, Derek understood why. And I think he was hurt that they moved on from him.
Yeah.
I know he was.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But I don't think he was treated dirty. To this day, on or off the record, I've never heard Dave or Josh talk about Derek in a bad way.
No.
Nothing but praise. Now, I want to make a couple of points because this is really important. I'm going to get into the number 4. I'm going to get into this if you just bear with me for a minute.
All good.
People then will say, well, why give him that contract? I'm going to tell you why they did. Because they came here because of him. They never thought it wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
That's why. They were, as the kids like to say, 100 in their commitment to he's going to be our guy.
Yeah.
So people saying, why would they give him that stupid contract? It's because what I told you was accurate. They wanted him. But it wasn't going to work for a lot of reasons. I think it wasn't going to work. I think Derek had basically been through PTSD with this franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Derek had to be quarterback, counselor, pastor, face. Can somebody tell me why after the Henry Ruggs incidents, Derek Carr's out there talking and not other people?
Yeah, that is definitely true. Definitely. And he even took a little bit of blame. Like, I wish he would have called me because he know I would have came and got him. Like, Derek definitely handled that situation like a professional and a great human being. Yes, you're right.
So let me say a couple things to you. I consider Derek Carr a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't always agreed, but consider him a friend and a Christian brother for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was done dirty. Do I think they could have done it differently? Mm-hmm. But now I want to go to the number 4. They wanted him in, he's a quarterback, so he's got to be within a certain range of numbers. It isn't like you can give him a 91.
Yeah.
They knew that Derek had left and there was no hard feelings from them to him, and they knew from him to them there wasn't.
Yeah.
They knew the Raiders didn't retire numbers.
Yeah.
Now, this goes back to being clueless and not being able to read the room. I know people said to them, are you sure you want to do this? Yeah. Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
It's not disrespect. We love him. We've said nothing but high things about him. He's been great about us. Now, do I think it was a dumb move? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I think it was malicious? No. Because I talked and knew how stunned they were at the blowback.
Yeah.
Now, you may say,
wait. They were stunned by it? They were stunned.
They literally, let me just share this with you. They knew that half the fan base wanted him gone.
Yeah.
They knew half the fan base wanted him, but they knew the relationship was not leaving angrily, and the Raiders don't retire numbers. So they thought, oh, They don't care about numbers here.
Yeah.
So was it clueless? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was it malicious? Not at all. Now, I've had some people since I reported that say, you're just carrying the weight. Well, no, because I wrote a lot of things about him that make him look really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being told by someone in the building, oh my God, these people have no clue what's coming. I warned them. That's how I first found out about it. So when I asked, yeah, could you believe that? Yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, it's not even just the fan base, Hondo, or the stuff, but the pressure you're putting on the young kid. You know, like you're setting up Aiden O'Connell before he even gets an opportunity. That's the sad part.
I'm just telling you, there is nothing you can say to make me change my opinion that it was just a dumb move.
Yeah.
But I can also tell you it wasn't malicious because there was some bad. They felt bad.
Yeah.
See, Hondo, this is the thing that has always confused me about what's been going on here the last few regimes, right? We can go back to the Gruden regime. Ever since Mark Davis has taken over after his father passed away in 2011, right? When Reggie McKenzie was here, you know, he had kind of a consortium of old Raiders, John Madden, Ron Wolf, all these people. They kind of helped him bring Reggie in. Reggie cleaned up the cap, and a lot of the decisions were made by Reggie, right? And I understand because Mark is not a football man such as his father. He's an infinitely better businessman.
Definitely.
The thing is, though, is that I think there's a misconception that Mark Davis doesn't know football. I think he does. I think he knows football more than a lot of people would think. And I'm wondering why he's chosen to kind of take a back seat and allow people to make decisions for this franchise when I'm almost certain that he knows are not the right ones. And like there are owners in the National Football League who meddle, and there are ones like Robert Kraft who don't meddle. But then when there's a major franchise changing and altering decision, Robert Kraft will step in, like when Belichick wanted to move on from Brady prematurely. And he stepped in and he got in the middle of that. How come Mark Davis has not done that? Because there are a few decisions that have gone on, which I feel like the owner probably should have stepped in and said, hey, no, I would like for you to do this. That's it. It doesn't seem like he's ever done that.
So let me address your question because I think it's a really fair one. I have never said that Mark doesn't know football. I've said he doesn't know it like his father.
Oh, yeah.
And I've said he's not a football guy. And those are two fair assessments of Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I think he knows it as a very informed fan. If you think that he knew Josh McDaniels was the wrong decision when he made it, I would tell you, you are wrong. He was 100% convinced this is the right decision. He believed it.
Yeah.
Now, so what I think, and I've written this, the firing of Josh McDaniels was the first time I believe in his tenure where he said, I don't care what anyone else thinks, this is what I'm doing. And I've said to Raider fans, let's hope that's a sign that he's going to start following his gut now.
Yeah.
I want to make a couple statements that are very important, and I hope this will shed light on your question, my friend. There are three types of teams in the NFL. The owner-led team, where he picks the general manager and the coach. Both men are accountable to him. It's an utter disaster. It doesn't work. Next is the coach, the general manager-led team, where he picks the general manager and general manager picks the coach. I love that way. The other is a coach-led team that picks his general manager. It's the last two.
Mm-hmm.
That works very minimal amount of time, and I don't like it at all. That being said, I wrote the other day, and it caused a lot of controversy, that the next decision for Mark Davis is going to be, is he making it? Are former players going to make it? How much of a voice is Tom Brady going to have? And what about Jim Gray?
Yeah.
Who's a very good friend of his.
Yeah.
And a very good journalist. to me, you can start to get so many voices that it's concerning to me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you sitting here right now, I'm not a fan, but I root for good people. Now I can say this after the actions of the last 5, 6, 7 days. There isn't one person in the Las Vegas Raiders organization, from the janitors to security to Mark Davis, that I dislike. They're good people.
Mm-hmm.
They're good people. Good people. Hardworking people that sacrifice a lot to work there. I root for the good people. I don't wish the Raiders ill will. There are things I know right now, if I reported today, would be 100% truthful and hurt the team. That's not my agenda.
Yeah.
I have no. Some of them you're just going to have to wait and read when I write my book and I retire, and certain people are no longer in leadership or ownership.
Yeah.
But this is a legacy defining decision, and I'm rooting for AP.
Yes, definitely.
He's over to Allegiant tonight at the
game.
Yeah.
Raided up, wearing all the Raiders stuff.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I want him to get it. He's good people. Now, I also want you to know, I don't believe in hiring. There are a few franchises that are the elite, of which the Raiders are one. I do not believe you hire coaches to go to those franchises to be first-time coaches. I would not have wanted them to hire AP had this come at the end of the year. But the moment he got interim, I said, this guy now is a 10-week job interview, and I'm rooting for him because now he gets to learn all the mistakes. If you want to call AP out because he threw his first flag challenge was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you better not blame him for this one, because he had a guy upstairs, and go watch the video of his Monday press conference. I asked him, and he admitted a guy upstairs told him to throw it. So that's not on AP. But has he made some rookie mistakes? Yeah, because that's what rookies do. If you don't like AP for that, you better not be rooting for Frank Smith, the offensive coordinator of the Dolphins, or Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Lions, or E.G. Rowe, the defensive coordinator of the of the Carolina Panthers, who are all leading candidates, because they're going to have those same mistakes too. Yeah. You're a hypocrite if you root for them.
Yeah.
But I'm rooting for AP. I wrote, when Mike Mayock was let go, they should have hired Champ Kelly. This is a no-brainer. In a couple of weeks, you're going to know why. We got a deep dive coming on Champ Kelly I think you're going to love.
Real quickly, I want to ask, how plausible do you think it is that they keep AP? Because since 2000, there have been 10 interim coaches that have been hired full-time. And we did it one time with Tom Cable. Dick LeBeau, I think, like Dave McGinnis, Mike Tice, Mike Singletary, Leslie Frazier, all those guys have been retained. How plausible do you think it is that AP keeps his job? And exactly what do you think he has to do to keep this job?
All right, that's a great question. And you have to understand, I'm not a politician, so my answer is going to sound a little political, but I need you to hear me out, okay?
It's okay.
It depends on who's in his ear. I'm concerned about a couple of people that could be in his ear.
Okay.
Who have their own agenda of where the franchise should go. Having said that, if AP wins 10 games, which I do not think he will, but he could, and you don't hire him,
it's insane.
In a minute, I'm going to get to how bad it is. If he gets to 9 wins, which is where I predicted this team to get to and where I think they're going to get, I think they're going to get to 8 for sure. But if he gets to 8 and doesn't hire him, I think the fans may be, when I say the fans, I mean in totality.
Yeah.
May be okay with it. The players are not. He's going to have a mutiny. He gets to 9 wins. I think fans and players are going to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I have said AP needs to win this job, not give Mark a choice, not give the people in his ear a choice. Mark, it's got to be so clear that Mark's like, listen, it's my money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want you guys to judge this because I've reported this. And in fairness, I have reported it, but it was given to me by a very successful current general manager in the National Football League. He said to me, if he hires AP, he goes, and I probably would. He said, I go to AP and say, I'm going to give you a 3-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
$4 million a year. Just hear me out. But you're going to get all 3 years, fully guaranteed. But if any time during that 3-year process you take this team to the playoffs, it now automatically extends another 5. So if you've gone through 2 years, you have 1 year left. It's now a 6-year deal. It becomes a $10 million a year deal. And oh, by the way, we're going to pay you the $10 million retroactive. So the 2 years you got paid for, we now owe you 12.
That's interesting.
It's a great offer. I thought when I heard that, I thought, man, that's a great offer. It allows Mark to not have to overpay, but it allows AP, if he does what Gruden in the second thing and what Josh McDaniels couldn't do, which was go to a playoff, it allows them to get paid the same amount they made.
Interesting. I've never heard of that.
Man, I've reported it a couple times, but I think I've never said it came from a general manager. So there you go.
Yeah.
But I broke that on Graphk Grader, by the way. So anyways,
but Hondo, let me ask you this real quick because you're talking about AP. I want to ask. I've had this thought in my head of I felt bad for Champ Kelly, right? Because he was named the intern right when free agency or the trade deadline had wrapped up. I felt in my head, I was like, he wasn't really given a chance to like prove what he can do in order to become the full-time GM. And mind you, I love the relationship he has with AP. It's like perfect. It's like sweet and sour. Like I love seeing them both talk and run around with each other. They seem like they have a brotherhood there. And I love it. Do you think that he was kind of handed the short end of the stick? And what does he need to do in order to win that full-time position as the GM? Because will he be given a draft? Or did he even have any input on the last draft? Like how can we survey what Champ has done?
Okay. I'm going to say this, and I'm not being evasive, but in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to have a deep dive on Champ.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say a lot now, but I'm going to tell you, I already reported he should have been one of the top candidates the last time.
Mm-hmm.
His resume speaks for itself. And what I say to people that are critical of him, what could he have done?
Yeah.
You tell me you want him to win the job. Okay, that's fair. How?
Yeah, that's
essentially the question. Like,
yeah, how do you do it?
He couldn't go make a trade.
No.
He can bring in a couple of players, which is cool. But Champ Kelly has a resume that goes back long before the Raiders.
Definitely.
And it's a good one. And when we do our deep dive, I don't want to say too much because I want to surprise you.
Okay.
But I've got a big surprise coming for Raider Nation. And I think you're going to really love it. And I think you're going to enjoy it. And I think you're going to learn a lot about Champ Kelly that you don't know. I just want to say this. The moment Dave Ziegler was fired, I said, give Champ the job full time.
Mm-hmm.
And, these people that sit in their basements, whose girlfriend's last name is .jpeg, they can attack all they want. My name's on everything.
Love it.
You know who I am.
Love it.
I ain't hard to find.
Love it.
Okay?
I'm sorry, man. This is something I got to get this out because I don't want to forget it. I don't mean to cut you off. I want to circle back to something we were talking about like way earlier. As when it pertains to Tyree Wilson, right? Now, there were a lot of us in Raider Nation, me included, who was wondering why the Raiders didn't broach the Jalen Carter thing. Because to me, the way I looked at Jalen Carter and Tyree Wilson is I think they're two generational. I think Jalen Carter's a generational guy. So
yeah, I've addressed this already, so I don't mind addressing it again one bit. Jalen Carter was a guy that had a lot of off-field issues that some NFL that most NFL teams were aware of that hadn't even been reported.
Okay.
Just issues. Okay. And so the Raiders made the decision. And oh, by the way, so did multiple other NFL teams. We're not taking Jalen Carter in round one.
Yeah.
Go back and look at all the NFL national guys, because several of them tweeted on draft night, Jalen Carter's agent working the phone because if the Eagles don't take him, he's going to plummet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I want to say a couple things, and this is going to take me a minute to answer your question, so please give me a little bit of grace. Do we have time, Graphk?
Look, we have as much time as we need. It's all good.
Okay. So I've heard a lot of people say Henry Ruggs was a terrible pick. All right, I'm going to say something to you because I have familiarity with Alabama, a lot of familiarity, know a lot of people there, knows some of his coaches personally. Henry Ruggs didn't come out of Alabama with any character flags whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
None.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm not making light. Henry is not a victim. He made a stupid decision that cost Tina Tinter her life.
Definitely.
Okay.
Rest in peace.
Yep. But that's not on the Raiders. There were no red flags.
Mm-hmm.
None. That was a great pick.
Yeah.
I got texted from executives telling me best receiver in this draft. And you may remember his rookie year didn't go all that well, but his second year started amazingly.
Yes.
I think he would have rivaled Tyreek Hill. Got money, got into Vegas, and he made a horrific decision.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to get into what Jalen's issues are. There's enough that are public, but I want you to hear me. The Raiders weren't the only team that said he's a great player, and without his off-the-field issues, he's a dude.
Yeah.
I wrote all this, by the way. So I'm not making this up. You can go back and read it.
I remember. I read.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I want you to hear me. I hope one day at Canton, because I go to the Hall of Fame, I get to walk up and shake Jalen Carter's hand and say, you proved everybody wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not throwing up stuff because I'm not rooting against the kid. We live in a society that, it's just like you asked me about people being critical. I'm not going to be critical back.
Yeah.
I work with them. They're good people. I hope they prosper and succeed. I don't live that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not rooting against Jalen, but I 100% support the decision not to get him. Because if he'd come up here, the Eagles knew we got a bunch of his former teammates.
Yeah, perfect situation. Yeah.
Who kept him in check at Georgia.
And a mix of veterans, Hondo, around that can also keep him, keep him right.
But to brought him to Vegas, I'm just going to say to you, I don't blame Raider Nation for being sad he's not wearing the silver and black. But he's got a long career ahead of him. Let's hope he proves everybody wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But there were a lot of other very good NFL teams that had him completely off their draft board.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
And by the way, teams that have won a lot of games and big games.
Yeah.
And so I don't blame the Raiders for it. I hope Jalen continues to make everybody disappointed at every team that didn't pick him, because that means the kid has stayed on the straight and narrow, and I want to root for him.
Yeah.
I don't care about people's past. I care about their future.
Mm-hmm.
And I want him to do great. I want him to prosper. I want his family to get generational wealth. But I don't blame the Raiders, and I'll go a step farther. Had I been in the general manager's seat, I would not have picked him.
So let's do this. Speaking of the future, okay? So we have a guy who's our brother that does podcasts with us weekly. His name is Stuart Schweiger, former Raider safety, our guy out of Purdue, leading interception leader of all time out there. Our guy, very close with the particular guy that plays for the Raiders now, QB1, Aiden O'Connell. What's your assessment of him? how does his teammates take to him? Because it seems like
They
everybody loves him. Yeah, it seems like everyone just loves him. I mean, do you think that
him and Amik are loved by everybody?
I love that. Do you think it's a realistic, like he has a realistic shot at especially if Antonio Pierce keeps the job of being QB1 next year? I mean, no, we'll draft another guy and we'll have a competition at some point. But like, do you truly think that Aiden can win? He's already went over the locker room. Can he win that job for the foreseeable future?
All right. I'm not trying to take all the time of your podcast, but you're asking me questions that I feel your listeners deserve me to give them more than a yes or no. So you guys are my bosses. I want you to know I'm trying to be respectful.
Mm-hmm.
And, when your boss calls, you don't tell him, gee, I got to run. You stand that call to your boss, says, okay, the call's over. Have a good day. God bless you. Okay, I'm on the phone with my bosses, so bear with me. I know how respected Aiden O'Connell was as a pocket passer. Had he come out the year before, he would have probably been a number one draft pick. The Raiders stole him where they got him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number one. Aiden was the quarterback that both Ziegler and McDaniels agreed on.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, so they go get this guy. Yes, Jimmy's hurt, during OTA mini camp, and he got a lot of reps, but he still were second team reps, not first. The majority did not go to him. Most people don't know in practice, 80% of the first team reps, maybe 75 go to the first team guy, 20% go to the second, and then 5 with the threes goes to the third. It's a very difficult playbook that the Raiders did not have the personnel to run.
Yeah.
He's not out there with the ones in training camp. He's not out there. I mean, in some special, in just some team stuff, yeah, but I'm talking about the scrimmaging.
Mm-hmm.
He's number 3 for weeks till they get to the Chargers.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're 1.
Yeah.
Josh did nothing to change the playbook, which I've already written and reported.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There was a lot of people angry with it. Why put the rookie in? Our veteran guy that you wanted can't do it.
Yeah.
Why go get the rookie who can't? They set him up. I don't believe the purpose was to set him up.
I get what you're saying. I get. Yeah.
Okay.
He was thrown into the fire. He was thrown into the fire.
Right. Okay. So then AP gets fired, and AP's like, "You're our guy."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now they have to pair off 75% of the playbook because it didn't work under Josh McDaniels. It ain't going to work when he ain't here. And oh, by the way, they're adding new plays every week.
Yeah.
So for fans saying, boy, the offensive play calling sucks. All right, that's fair. But most teams' playbooks that thick. The Raiders is that right now. That said, the kid against the Jets had the best stats than several other great quarterbacks who went against the Jets defense.
Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, a list of them.
Okay.
Yep. Josh
the
Allen.
Best stats than anybody against the Chiefs.
Yep.
Who have a great defense.
Yep.
No interceptions last week. He's getting better every week. Now, having said that, I'm on the record, so I'm not going to change. I like my quarterback to have legs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want my quarterback to be Kyler Murray.
Yes.
I don't want my quarterback to be, and I love him, by the way, Justin Fields.
I knew you were going to go that route.
Because I want my quarterback to be Patrick Mahomes, who can run, but understands I'm better for the Chiefs when I'm in the pocket.
Yeah.
But then when I can't do anything else, okay, now I'll run.
Yeah. Burrow does it too. Same thing. I agree. Yeah.
So I see people after the Giants game, I took a lot of criticism because people were like, he's our next Stabler. Okay, you just played the Giants, tap the brakes.
Yeah.
It's like saying you went to a brothel with a fistful of hundreds and you're bragging that you found a date. Okay, you should do good against the Giants.
Yeah.
Then people are like, against the Jets and Chiefs, he sucks. He's trash. Time to move on. What?
Crazy.
He just played better than several guys that Graphk mentioned.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, he's 4 games into this.
Yeah.
With a rookie head coach and a rookie offensive coordinator and a limited playbook.
Yep.
Now, here is what I think. Have we seen enough to think he could be QB1? Yes. Have we seen some things that make us wonder, can he be QB1?
Yes.
Yes. I don't think you can make that decision right now. You know, I always laugh when people say, I called it. Well, you had a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. And what I would say to you is, I think if he continues to get better week after week, Raiders got a lot to be excited about.
Yeah.
And depending on how he plays, I think they need. I am very convinced they're going to pick a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the general manager changes, I reserve the right to change that opinion. But they're going to pick a quarterback somewhere,
exactly,
for competition, and they should. And I think he's going to have the ability to run.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you can call him Stabler yet. I don't think you can throw him out. And I think both sides could make an argument. For Hondo personally, I like what he does. I like the way he leads. I'm impressed what Josh Jacobs thinks of him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed what the offensive line thinks of him.
Devontae too.
I'm really impressed with what Davante Adams thinks of him.
Yeah.
I'm impressed what Max Crosby thinks of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I had to bet today, and we're Vegas, I would bet, if I had to bet boom or bust, I'm going to say boom.
Okay.
But I'm not predicting that. I'm saying if I had to bet, if I didn't bet,
yeah,
he's done a lot. I think he's done a lot to earn some respect. And I go back to people ripping Tyree. Show the kid a little grace.
Yeah.
He's in a really tough situation. And I think he's doing well. Did you know last week, and I don't know who tweeted it, but it wasn't a Hondo original. He had the best QBR rating in the NFL last week.
Mm-hmm.
1 sack. He's not holding the ball as long.
Mm-hmm.
And
0
penalties. I mean, let's give the kid some respect. Put a little bit of respect on his name a little bit.
I like that.
And everyone today is so quick to say they want to be the first to say, I said it.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, going back to your article, there was a tidbit that was really, really interesting to me because we talked about Aiden, we talked about Tyree. Zeke wanted to play the rooks. Josh McDaniels wanted nothing to do with it. Now, you being so close to the team, being around the players, talking to them at, pressers and stuff like that. Is there any visible, are some of these rookies, the Nesta Jades, the Chris Smiths, which I thought was going to get a lot more playing time his rookie season, Amari Burney finally starting to get some reps, but a lot of these guys have not really gotten an opportunity to play at the next level yet. I mean, is there any kind of disdain visibly on, like, are they upset out there in Las Vegas, like these young, and mind you, they're competitive, they want to play. Do they understand? Are they visibly frustrated? Because even Trey Tucker, we're not involving him as much as I would want to. Mayer's finally starting to get some real reps, but the rookies you really haven't seen too much out of them, man.
Yeah, let's address that because I think it's a great question. I've already reported on this, but I'll report again. John Jenkins, Bilal Nichols, Jerry Tillery, and Adam Butler have played very well. This defense is as highly rated as it is because of them. Now, it doesn't show up in the stats.
Yeah.
But they're playing well. Nesta and Byron not getting on the field.
Yeah.
And I asked AP about this in a press conference a couple of weeks ago. You can go look. Isn't necessarily about them doing badly. It's the veterans in front of them are playing well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's first. There are some rookies, Chris Smith is a guy that they brought in and thought he'd be an eventual replacement for Marcus Epps.
Our guy Wayne is in the building too, real quick, Hondo. He says, good evening, fam. Salute to Wayne. Our brother Violators in the building, man. Salute to our guy.
I hope he heard what I just had to say about him because I love him. But I would say this, that you're seeing a lot more rookie involvement under AP.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I believe AP wanted it, but I also think Champ Kelly wanted it too.
Yeah.
And some of the guys that aren't getting there is because guys ahead of them are performing and keeping them off the field. Mm-hmm. They're coming. They're coming. Yeah. And but you are seeing a lot more of the rookie involvement right now. That's
a good problem to have. Hondo, I want to ask you, getting back to Aiden O'Connell, right? I think that, having a leader of men is very important. There are a lot of coaches who are play callers and they have this scheme and they're gurus on either side of the ball. The thing I like about, our current head coach is that he's a leader of men. And I think we needed that in this building, right? Mm-hmm. On the defensive side of the ball, we have an established defensive coordinator who has had success all over the National Football League. Now, when it comes to Bo Hardegree is a rookie as well. And I think it would serve the Raiders better. This is my personal opinion. I think it would serve the Raiders better going and getting an established offensive coordinator who's been around the National Football League, who has a history and a track record of developing quarterbacks. What do you think about the Raiders bringing in like a Frank Reich kind of offensive coordinator to kind of help develop Aiden O'Connell and bring this team along?
Here's exactly what I think. Your opinion and my opinion doesn't matter. If AP gets the job and him and Champ say, listen, Bo didn't have a off season to build a playbook with what we wanted. He didn't have OTAs, mini camps, training camps. We like what we see with him. We wouldn't have won the games we won without him changing the playbook.
Yeah.
We want to give him a shot. I trust them. Yeah. Remember I talked about the 20, I was very critical that Josh McDaniels, there's not all, but there's a couple coaches that he needed to fire and Dave Ziegler wanted him to fire.
Yeah.
And I said at the time, I would have fired them, but this is his team. And I don't laugh at you, but I laugh at people that want to say, keep AP, but he's got to do this. Okay, so you want to go right back to being what you just had, where other people are telling them what to do. I'm sorry. I disagree with you, even though I think you want an offense with a little bit more running. Maybe Bo wants to do that. I don't know what he wants to do. He hasn't he hasn't, they may feel very comfortable he can do what we want. Mm-hmm. He's pared it back like we wanted. So what I would say, and this is respectful to you, doesn't matter what you think, doesn't matter what I think. Whoever they hire, and if it's AP and I think he should get the job, and if it's Champ as the GM, I trust them.
Yeah.
AP's got something you and I don't got, brother. Super Bowl rings.
Yep.
And so
yep.
At the end of the day, who gives a flying rat's behind what you and I want? When you pick,
well, respectfully, guy, I do.
But my point is, we don't need another regime here where the wrong people are making the wrong decisions. If Champ chooses to pick them, and I believe he would, then Champ needs to step back and say, I'm going to hire you. This is what I want. Can you do it? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Then Champ needs to stay out of it. Let him pick his men. Yeah. And I trust AP. And if he gets the job, I'm not making any suggestions.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, AP, do what you want. This is something. I want to go back, and I want to really be careful with what I say here, guys. So I'm going to really parse my words. I hate it when coaches are hired. Now, let me say this. I wanted Gus Bradley to be kept by Josh McDaniels. I want Patrick Graham to be kept by whoever comes in. But every coach usually gets one chance as a head coach. Mm-hmm. And we've seen a lot of guys get picked who are handcuffed. You got to keep this guy, and this guy. And I'm going to say this, and I hope you hear my heart. I've heard people say AP should get the job because he's black. Well, I have a black son. He's half Filipino and half black, and black grandchildren. So I'm going to tell you something, and before you hit me, hear me out. I don't think he should get the job because he's black. I think he should get the job because he's good.
Yep.
And because he's earned it.
Yeah.
And if he's earned it, don't handicap him with other people telling him what he has to do, because so few men that look like him get this chance. Let him go pick his own men. And so if he fails or succeeded, he did it the AP way.
Yeah. Agreed.
Just like Dan Campbell did it in Detroit, let AP do it. And whatever he picks, I support him. Now watch, somebody's going to go write an article. Hondo says AP shouldn't be hired because he's black.
No.
Yeah. Then I don't think anybody.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, Hondo. If somebody does that, we got your back. We're gonna definitely cook them.
Well, look. To be honest with you, Hondo, listen. I know a lot of black people. I happen to be black, right? And speaking as a black man, nobody wants to be pandered to, right? Like we all want to be hired because you want to be respected, and football and sports are the ultimate meritocracy. You want to. As well as you do, you want to be rewarded for as well as you do. Nobody wants any handouts. Yeah. The thing that I'm broaching is not really that, he should or he definitely should. I'm just speaking from my perspective, right? I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, we have, a head coach who is not the guy that's going to be there with the clipboard like Andy Reid. Yeah. He's a leader. He's a head coach. Back in the day, Bill Parcells didn't call plays. Bill Parcells had his coordinators do their job. I'm looking at it from the perspective of, okay, you have a rookie head coach, you got a rookie quarterback, you have a lot of young players. Maybe we need another guy in there who has a little bit more experience. You know what I'm saying? This is just an opinion.
Can I answer that real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Because you just said something first, so I want to tell you 100% agree. I don't think black people want to be pandered to, nor do I think they have to. There's a ton of them that are truly qualified. Yeah. And so we don't have to pander to anybody. Hire the best person for the job. I agree with you there. But I want to go back to something you just said. And I respect what you just said. He's not going to be carrying the clipboard. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a CEO. Mm-hmm. But I trust him. There are some things I know that one day I'll do a deep dive and share with you that he's already done since he got the job. I trust AP. And he knows Bo Hardigree. He knows some of the things he's asked Bo to do. Yeah. And Bo's done them. If he thinks Bo can do it, I trust AP.
Yeah, I do too. And I respect it. I respect it. And that's how I believe coaches should always pick their guys.
But let me say this to you though, because I at the same time, I'm not poo-pooing your assumptions. I think like you. Go get an experienced OC. But I also check at the door. I trust AP. You know, my dad used to say that. My dad was a warrior for our country. And my dad used to always say, everybody should have to serve in the military because once you get out, you're never going to be a racist again. Because if you were, he said, because when you're in a foxhole and there are bullets coming over your head, you don't care if the guy next to you, what color he is. You just hope he shoots straight and he isn't a coward and has your back because you're going to have his. Yeah. And I agree with my dad, by the way. And I believe that when the bullets start coming, you let those guys make those choices. Now, I would think you would want that experience. But there's one difference. AP knows them. Yeah. It's why he picked them to be his OC. On a treadmill, two men from two totally different, one is urban, one's country. One is, different school, one is SEC. But he picked them because he trusts them. He liked how he looked at the game of football. So what I would say is I think like you, but I'm going to be supportive of whatever AP does. And if it fails, I'm going to say, I said before he got the job, I thought he should have picked somebody more experienced and it didn't work out. But you give him, just like I gave Josh Jacobs the 20 games of grace. That's what I would do. I hope that answers your question, my friend.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I got two questions for Hondo before we get out of here. I don't want to keep you all night. I know the wife is sick. I want to save some questions for next time because I want to get you on at some point, man. I love having you on, man. I love it, man. But two questions. And the last one, I'm gonna save that for a second. Scott Turner, we haven't heard too much from him. Like you were saying that he chose Bo Hardaway. Like, Scott, like, has there been any rumblings about why we didn't look at him for OC, or was it just an AP call? Like, I want Bo to be the guy because, Scott was a quarterback, quarterbacks coach with the Commanders. He has a little bit of, he's
a good coach.
Yes, he has some experience. So we were all confused because a lot of us were thinking, okay, they're gonna bring in Scott Turner as the offensive coordinator, but then they chose Bo. Have you heard anything about that, or was it just an AP call?
AP made the call because he had built a friendship with Bo Hardaway on a treadmill.
Okay.
And he loved the interaction he had with Bo. He liked that they gelled on so many different approaches. He liked Bo the man.
Yeah.
Bo had nothing to gain. They were two different sides of the ball. Nobody knew Josh was going to get fired, yet Bo invested in him, cared about him, respected him. It isn't that other people didn't, but AP knew who he wanted.
Gotcha.
Champ knew. And he'd built a great relationship with Aiden O'Connell. This is the guy. Let's go. Let's go.
Shout out to everybody.
It wasn't a disrespect to anything else.
Okay.
It speaks to you about the character of AP. He coached a different side of the ball. Here's a guy from a whole different world than me.
Yeah.
But when we're on the treadmill, we're two buddies who love football, who build a genuine friendship, a great friendship.
I love it.
Who both, and this is going to surprise you, are very aggressive. You say, nah, Bo, well, watch his scripted plays to start.
Yeah.
Imagine what he could do.
Oh, phenomenal. Yeah, those first series. No, you're good. Can you hear it?
Yeah, and so imagine when he's got a full playbook, when he's had an off season and he's had OTAs and mini camps, and I don't even know that he's going to hire him.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of reasons to be encouraged with Bo Hardaway. And whatever direction they go, it wasn't a slam on anybody. It was a compliment to Bo Hardaway.
I love that. Real quick, Wasted. Salute to the 1,000 people in the building. We want to do this real quick, you guys. Make sure you subscribe to our brother Hondo Carpenter on YouTube. He deserves 20,000 subscribers tonight. You guys go over there, hit that subscribe button. He puts on phenomenal work. The link is in the chat. Make sure you guys go over there and subscribe to our brother Hondo Carpenter. Go ahead, Wasted. I
want to say something real quick to all your 1,000 listeners. First of all, I hope I can't see the comments, so I hope they're enjoying it.
They
definitely are.
But I want to say to all of the nation, I respect you and I admire you. I don't pander to you because I don't think you deserve that. And I want to tell a story and then I'll answer your last question.
Gotcha.
I reported that Josh McDaniels had not lost the locker room. And I have taken I literally got personal threats over it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before you do that, can I say something real quick? Because a lot of people, right, they look at us as fans, but I have to say this. I have a personal relationship with some of those players in that locker room. I'm invited to every alumni party. I'm out there partying with the big guys, all that good stuff. I heard the exact same thing as you. And people bookmark my tweets. They've been trying to kill me over it too. Players said that he did not lose that locker room. I want you to know you're not the only guy that heard that. So that heard that. But go ahead. My apologies.
And so as early as Monday, I was getting grief, and I had a player say to me, and I don't have the text anymore, so I'm paraphrasing, but basically, thank you for taking the heat, but still telling the truth. And this is what the player said. For us to have quit, that's not in our character. We were still getting paid. We still love those fans.
Yeah.
And they thanked me. I've had 5 players personally thank me outside of the building. Thank you, Hondo, because when people say that he lost us, they're demeaning our character. There's not one person on the roster today that I personally know who disliked Josh. They were just frustrated with him and didn't like the way he was coaching.
Yeah.
But they were still fighting for him. And you saw Devontae and others say, I wish this wouldn't have had to happen.
Yeah.
I wish him well. I don't speak poorly of him. And so I want to say this to your 1,000 people watching right now. I will never change because it's what you want to hear. But I'm going to always respect you. And every day when I get up, this is the first thing I pray. First of all, I pray for my family. But after I pray for my family, this is what I ask the Lord every day. Lord, help me to bring what I believe are the best fans in the National Football League, the best information. Help me to be their eyes and ears so I can give them information that I have access to that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
I pray that every day.
Yeah.
And so to the 1,000 of you listening right now, you may not always agree, and I'm okay with that. But I want you to know I respect you. It's why I'm on this show. It's why I told Graphk I'm going to give you all the time we need, and we're putting here 2 hours.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
and
That long.
after a day of, I don't even know how many interviews I've done, but well north of 25. And I'm doing it because you guys are my bosses. And I respect you. And I at least hope, whether they agree with me or not, they'll always say, Hondo treated us with respect.
Yeah.
He didn't talk down to us. He didn't treat us like we were stupid. He gave us the information and let us make our own decisions. At least I hope that's what they hear. And I do love you, Raider Nation.
Wasted real quick. I have to ask this, okay? So real fast. So I have a relationship with the New York Post and SNY. Anytime Raider related, we play the Giants, or they reach out, we do shows together, right? So I did one the other day, and I know someone sent it to you, Hondo, and I spoke about your article about the John Gruden, Mark Davis thing, right? And I know a lot of people are up in arms with that because we know the nostalgic thing. Mark Davis, we as Raider fan, we always love the Art Shell comes in as the head coach. We bring everybody back, right? And great article. And mind you, he did not say, you guys, that Mark Davis was going to bring back John Gruden. And I had that conversation with SNY the other day. I want to ask your genuine opinion, okay? If they do move on from AP, or if this lawsuit just magically disappears, do you really give me a percent of Mark Davis potentially bringing John Gruden back after that second tenure where he was 3-2 and relieved of his duties after that Chicago game? How do you feel about that?
Okay, you just asked me 2 questions. You asked me how I feel, and then you asked me
the first one. Take the first one.
All right. Everyone I know who is close to Mark is very open about how much he loves and reveres John.
Yes.
And how angry he was that he had to get rid of him. Not supportive of what he said in his emails.
Yes.
But I'm going to say something to everybody right now. I'm 52 years old. I have made mistakes in my life. I don't know if I've ever written anything in an email that I regret, but I know I've said things I regret.
Definitely. All of us have.
Yep. And so I'm a grace addict. I laugh. Somebody asked me on one of my interviews today, why do you always talk about God? Well, I don't talk about God because people who don't share my faith are bad people, because I don't believe that. I talk about God in the Lord because I know that when I don't have him, I'm not a good person.
Yeah.
This is about Hondo, not anybody else. And I'm a grace addict. I can't tell you how many times God's never failed me, but I have failed him miserably. And so I'm a guy like with Jalen Carter. I want people to succeed. I want people to do well.
Yeah.
So I'm not willing to hold it against John. He's repented. He's asked people to forgive him. And You move on from it. So that being said, strictly based on football, I would be really skeptical there because John's not going to come back if he's not the boss.
Yeah.
And I think we learned in his second tenure, the Damon Arnett and some other decisions he made were just not wise. So I don't think he would come with a GM telling him what to do.
Yeah.
So I would say I just think it's time to let him go somewhere else.
Agreed.
Right.
No disrespect. And you may remember John has said in his press conferences, looking at me, I like you. To me, I have a good relationship with John.
Yeah.
That being said, I have not talked to Mark, but people close to him think if he could get the wink wink from the NFL, that he would. So I would think the chances would be reasonably high.
Yeah, I mean, you give him $100 million. I mean, for 10 years, I think that you love John Gruden.
So I would think it would be pretty reasonably high, and I would give him 20 games to get his guys in here and start over. But remember, I talked about who's going to be in his ear.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's see, man. We don't want to see any more Spider Y2 banana anymore.
Wait, I know you got one more question to end the show, brother.
No, I got one more question. This is a percentage question. There are two players on this roster that are superstar players, right? On the offensive side of the football. Their names are Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. What are the percentage of them coming back next year, in your opinion, as say, for instance, this team is currently constituted stays in place. AP stays here. Champ Kelly stays here. What do you think the percentage of Josh Jacobs returning and signing a deal that's team friendly, and Devontae Adams, kind of staying with the Raiders and finishing the lion's share of his career with us?
Great question. I'm going to start with Josh. If they and you told me based upon keeping AP and keeping Champ.
Yes.
So assuming those things happen, I'll be stunned if Josh isn't back. Stunned.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not. With Devontae, here is the thing you got to understand. He wants to be here.
Yes.
He wants to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Raiders, if AP and Champ say, okay, listen, this is a tough year, you know why? Here's the direction we're going. And he buys in, he's going to be here. It's going to be here. So I think pretty good if they keep Champ and AP, because I know the respect that they have for Devontae. Yeah. Now, I've also said this. There is only one player on this roster who, no matter what, won't be traded.
It's Max.
And it's Max Crosby.
1998, number 98. So
if the Jets come and say, we'll give you a first and Quinnen Williams.
Well, take him.
I love Devontae. Love Devontae to death. But you have
I love Devontae, but I'm driving him to McCarron.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. If somebody comes and says, we'll give you a first for AJ or Daniel, you take it. Josh that's not really the case, but there's only one player that's untouchable.
Yeah.
But I would expect if AP and Champ get the job, that both men will be back.
I love that. Salute to our brother Hondo, man. Like you said, we know you, the wife is under the weather. We got 1,000 people still watching the show, but we're on 2 hours here. Real quick, once again, brother, we appreciate you so much for pulling up on us, man. Hell of a show. Let everybody know one more time where they can follow you at if they're not following you yet.
Well, first of all, you can find me on IG. What'd you call IG? Sorry, I just got on there. So you can find me on IG. Okay, you guys are laughing at me like my son who's in college. Next year, going to say, boomer.
Don't worry, Hondo. You can join the Get Off My Lawn gang, too. I'm there.
Okay. But you can find me on IG at Hondo SR, which stands for Hondo Senior. You can find me on Twitter at Hondo Carpenter, HondoCarpenter.
Yeah. And
you can find me on YouTube at Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast with Hondo Carpenter, or on Spotify or Apple, or wherever you get your pods at the same. I also want to remind you, I do 2 pods a day.
Yes.
But one of them is exclusive just to the audio. It's a 5 or 10 minute hit with maybe I just got off the phone with a player, or got a text, or I talked with a general manager, or I talked with a coach or a player, whatever. I get a tidbit, I give it to people real quick. I think they'll really enjoy that. But before I go, I want to say this to you. I love the amount of voluminous people who as fans talk. I love what YouTube's and X and all these other places, Facebook Live, that allow people to get up and dissect and talk about the game.
Yeah.
And I want to say something to you, Graphk. I like you personally.
Thank you, brother.
But there's other people I like personally that I wouldn't do their show. I like the fact that you don't try to be what you're not. You're very comfortable in your own skin. You and I are a lot alike like that. And you're very genuine. I don't care if I like everything about a person. I can respect them if they're genuine. And I just want you to know, it is my privilege to be on here. And I thank you, Graphk, for giving me the privilege. I mean, I have lots of people that go and listen and read every day. But when I get a chance to go off my platform and address my bosses, and you give me that platform now for putting your 2 hours, I want you to know that I appreciate you, and I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful to your audience for spending this time with us. I know there's a lot of things tonight you could be doing. There's football on TV and everything else. You don't have to tune in. I'm not entitled to you reading, clicking, watching, subscribing. I'm blessed with it. So I just want you to know from my heart to you, Graphk, thank you for giving me that. I am not calling you wasted talent. I'm going to call you supreme talent, senior. And you are STS. I want his name officially changed by the nation. He is STS because we don't go around with Raider on Raider crime. We don't call our brothers wasted talent. He is senior, super talent.
I like that.
I want to thank you guys. Thank you to your audience for listening. I know my voice stinks. I know I probably
come on, Hondo.
But I appreciate you guys. God bless you.
God bless you as well. And hopefully we can maybe bring you on after the season and maybe do a show about just going over the season and an outlook going into next season.
Right now in front of your listeners, and they can hold me accountable. I will do it. We'll make it happen after the year. Maybe needs to be a couple weeks after because I've got Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But
let's get through all that.
We'll do it maybe before the combine.
Okay.
And but somewhere between after the Super Bowl and before the combine, we'll make it happen. I promise.
Hondo, my brother, man, have a blessed night. Once again, thank you so much. Everybody make sure once again to go follow our brother Hondo. Have a great night, brother. We'll talk soon, man.
Good. And I hope everybody enjoyed it. Thank you, my friends.
Thank you, brother. Salute to Hondo once again, our brother Hondo Carpenter. Thank you to everybody also in the chat. I know everybody was sending supers and stuff like that. We didn't want to interfere with the interview and stuff like that. So I apologize if we didn't get a chance to go over your super chats and stuff like that. You guys know how much we love y'all and appreciate you guys. You know what I mean? So I shout out to John. I seen you throughout the whole chat. My boy Corrigan, everybody else that was sending supers and great comments in the comment section. We just didn't want to derail the show. You know what I mean? And
sometimes you got to let the guests cook.
Yeah,
today, that's what happened.
And look, Hondo had
today,
bro. Hondo had a lot to say. We got to kick back, bro. We got to just kick back.
It's the first time in my history doing YouTube that I got to kick back and not talk a lot.
And there you go. You know what I mean? But to have someone like Hondo that's in, inside those doors, man, with all the insight, you had to let him cook, man. So salute once again to our dog, man. You got anything to say on the way out, brother?
No, all I gotta say is, man, this was a terrific and splendiferous episode. And man, I can't wait to go back and watch again, man. It was a great episode. Shout out to Hondo, man. And I want to thank him for coming and gracing us with his presence, man.
Boy, y'all were on your best behavior.
Oh man, we want to go to the principal's office.
Just letting our guy cook, man. You already know, man. Yeah, man. Shit, other than that, salute to my brother Supreme Talent for pulling up tonight.
Oh, come on,
you
bro.
know what I mean? And we are definitely running with that for the foreseeable future. I just want you guys to know that. Coming up on 2 hours, like I said, man, we're gonna get out of here. It's the bye week, you guys. Not a lot to talk about. Me and Wasted are actually working on behind the scenes, like tirelessly trying to get some new guests. Salute to Hondo. He just hit me up last night. I was like, let's do the show. So, but we reached out to a few players, some other guys. So stay tuned. We're working on getting some guests on during the bye week so we can talk some Raider football. Other than that, we don't want to go out here and just talk about nothing. There's nothing really to talk about. It's their bye week. It's our bye week.
You know what? I forgot to say something too. Content.
Fucking content. Salute, man. Other than that, you guys, for all the new subscribers, go follow my brother Wasted Talent. Raider Nation Unlimited. Make sure to go subscribe. Let's run our brother up to 10K. You already know what it is, man. Other than that, go to OakLosVegas.com. Go support. We got the mugs. You know what I mean? We got the new merch up and all that good stuff. PlanetRaiders.com. And also WoodsonWhiskey.com. Our number one sponsor, our family, Charles Woodson, Jay, Joe, all them. Go over there to WoodsonWhiskey.com. Go get you a bottle of Woodson Whiskey and tell them that Shieldmore sent you, man. Other than that, we love y'all. We appreciate you guys. For those who just pull in, go back, check it out. 2-hour show. A lot of interesting content in that. Salute to you guys. We love y'all. We out.